Hi, and welcome to another edition of Danny Brown Talks Phoenix. I am your host, Danny Brown, and this is a special Thanksgiving edition that we're doing this month. Joined with me is a member of our team over at Myriad Real Estate, Dominick Torres. Welcome to the show, Dominick.
Yeah, first time. Here we go.
You nervous?
A little bit, maybe.
You need to get the microphone a little closer to your face, I think. Get it all up in there.
See? Yeah, just, good places to start. You're a pro at this, Danny. But we're reversing roles, man. It's kind of exciting. I'm asking you the questions. You're asking most people questions.
This episode, I'm the one kind of being interviewed, and because it's Thanksgiving, we're going to be asking and chatting about things we're thankful for, and I'm sure that we'll go off on random tangents as well. So why don't we just kind of dive in and get started?
Okay. Yeah. So we've had kind of a lot of things happen this year, which has been exciting.
It's been a really busy year.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's coming up on the end. That went by real quick.
It did. It's amazing that, like, when you're younger, how long time takes.
Yes.
And then when you're older, it's just so fast.
Summer is so long when you're in high school and junior high and everything. You're like, oh, what a great summer. Now, 2 months gone.
Yep.
So, but one of the biggest things that happened this year, we ended up moving offices.
We did.
So just kind of from your perspective, what was your favorite part about moving offices, or what was the best part about that?
So for most people, as you know, we were our office for a very long time and still is in Midtown Phoenix, and we shared office space with here actually at Referral Media.
These guys, it's awesome.
And it worked out for a really long time, and then fortunately for both companies, we both started growing and started to kind of grow on top of one another, and it was beginning to get crowded, and so we made the decision that it was time for Myriad to find a permanent home or a long-term home, and so we moved just down the street. We worked with a couple great agents to help us find some office space to rent, and we love the Midtown area. Midtown is fantastic.
Great area.
Yeah, so many restaurants, a lot of activities, culture, and we really like kind of the high-rise life.
Yeah.
And so, it was a scary proposition, moving and signing, a long-term lease and having kind of that overhead that we have to take on. But it's been really fantastic. I think it's been a boom for the team, a boom for our culture. The space is fantastic. We have a lot of room.
Yes.
Several of the team was able to get private offices, which was really fantastic.
Yep.
I think we have a great common area kind of bullpen where we can share and exchange ideas. You worked there. How do you feel about it? You worked in both spaces.
Yeah. So, I kind of concur with you in that sense. Being in both offices, we were kind of growing into each other and just having a different space where, it's our team, our culture. Loved being side by side with Rensselaer, but having our conference room and those kind of things, it makes a big difference, and we're able to work with our clients and do those kind of things. And again, even just that space, some people call it a living room. We know we've had some people call it that,
right.
But I think it's a really great space. It kind of opens up for creativity and a few other things, and we got a great view too.
Yes,
so awesome.
Yeah. Our office, our windows, we look right down on Durant's.
Yep.
So we're on the corner of Central.
Haven't got
and
ourselves
Thomas.
in trouble yet.
No, fortunately not. And being in Midtown is great because it really allows us easy access to all of the valley. We've got our option for freeways. We've got the 17, the 10, and the 51, and we can pretty much get anywhere, depending on traffic, within 30 to 45 minutes.
Right.
So for our clients in the Southeast Valley, we've got clients as far southeast as Santan Valley, as far east as Gold Canyon, and as far north as New River, Surprise, And even further, there's a community Tartesso, which is out that's like west of Buckeye. That's
California.
40. Yeah, I know, right? It's 45 minutes from the office when you're doing 90
right.
on the 10. So it's a bit of a trek, but it gives us the ability to get around the valley pretty easily. And also allow for our clients and our vendors to come to us relatively easy too. So it's been a fantastic move, and I wouldn't have done anything different. I love our space. It was remodeled just for us. So we got to pick out finishes and the style. And, you know, I think what I like the most about it is pushing for, they wanted to do drywall all along one side of it, and we pushed for them to do glass window to allow the natural light, to allow the people in the bullpen to get the views still. So it's been great. So
yeah, it's been super awesome. I really like the mural that we did, the Phoenix behind us. I don't get to see it every day. I think y'all
right
get to see
behind you.
I know.
So
I got to turn around, you know, just say, hey, welcome to Phoenix. But,
well, that was your idea too.
Yeah.
I mean, you spearheaded that. You introduced us to the group that did it, and it really, you know, it encompasses what we're about. We're about Phoenix. The podcast is about Phoenix. We're about Phoenix, and so having that there is super cool. So
cool. If
cool.
you haven't seen it, it's definitely on our Instagram, right?
It's on
Video,
Instagram.
we've
got video about with it going
cool.
up. Yeah. So
and
people should definitely check it out, and everyone is always welcome to stop into our office and say hi.
See it in person.
You know, we've got free coffee and snacks, and So anyway.
Yeah. Next question. So you got married last year, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So and then this year your brother got married.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
He got married in February.
How was the wedding?
So he and I both had weather-wise disastrous weddings. You know, my wedding, we had it was a downpour and like a tropical storm basically hit. We were, you know, in Cancun, so everybody's hair was blowing around and it rained, and we got through the ceremony. It was outside on the beach, and you know, we got through it before it poured. And then my poor brother, they get married in late February, and it was when that storm hit Phoenix, where it basically snowed in Fountain Hills, in North Scottsdale, and it was frigid cold, and it was sprinkling. So people in the audience, you know, I was a groomsman, had umbrellas. I felt really bad for the bridesmaids because, of course, they're wearing like, you know, silk dresses, and they were just like shivering. You know, we're in suits, so you know it was okay. But they ended up with some amazing photos. I will say, when the weather is bad and it clears up, that you get some really spectacular images and coloring. Their backdrop was Camelback Mountain. They got married at Mountain Shadows. So it was really beautiful. And so it's the Brown boys. They deal with weather. So
no, and I guess some people have mixed feelings on that, right? Like I feel like in Hawaii, people have mentioned that when it rains, it's a blessing, so to speak, and then some people say it's bad luck. Do you have any take on that?
I think when it rains on people tell you it's good luck just to make you feel better.
You're like, I don't like this at all.
Yeah. So you know, for hours everything was super rushed because we could see it. Like you could see it coming down the beach. You're like, there's rain right freaking there, and with the wind and everything. So we kind of had to rush through it a little bit. But you know, it makes for a good story, and I'm sure my brother and his wife and my new sister-in-law will look back on it, and it'll be a good story to tell, you know, to their kids and grandkids down the. You know, if you have a wedding and it just goes off with no sort of incidents at all, you know,
sometimes it's not memorable.
Yeah.
So you remember
it makes
for
it
sure.
Yeah, so I will always remember that both our weddings, and you know, hopefully we're one and done, we both battled the elements and won.
So despite the rain, everything else that went on at the weddings, what was the best part about your brother's wedding?
You know, what was super cool is, for my bachelor party, and I'm not trying to make this about me, but for my bachelor party, my brother came, and that was kind of the first time he met my close circle of friends, and he really bonded with them and really clicked with them.
That's awesome.
And he ended up inviting my circle of friends to his wedding because they got along so well. And my brother's one of my best friends. Like, we grew up and we hated each other. We're 4.5 years apart. We constantly fought. I pushed him in the pool one East. Like, we fought a lot. And
brothers.
Yeah, right. And now we're super close. We're the best of friends. And for him to be, you know, welcomed into my close circle of friends is super cool. And so to have my friends and now his friends be at his wedding made it a lot of fun. We've gone on some trips post that. I've had friends who've thrown all my friends now are pregnant. So he's come to, baby showers, he and his wife, and they've all welcomed him and he's welcomed them. And so that's been really neat to be able to bring that kind of all together.
Right. So you guys just bonded a little more over that. And interesting thing, I know you'd mentioned it too, that you and your brother had this interesting pact with each other that neither one of you would be each other's best man.
Yes. Yeah. Neither one of us want to ever give a best man speech. A lot of pressure. So, Garrett, who does our market updates with us and from JFQ Lending, he was my best man. Right. He's my best friend, and he did an amazing job. And David had his best friend, Matt Newman, be his best man and give their speech. And so we didn't want to, put that on either one of us. And so it was fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We were both happy about it.
Yeah. Interesting pact, though.
Yes.
But cool. And outside of that, we also have had a lot of clients, throughout the years. I know, Danny, you've been in this since 2007.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So 12 years. This next summer will be 13.
Yeah. So
long time.
One of the cool things that we do and that kind of really brought me on board with the team here at Myriad was just, appreciating our clients. And we had an annual client appreciation event at the Odyssey Aquarium this year. So I was just curious from your perspective, before then, had you ever been to the aquarium?
No. In fact, I love aquariums. Like when I was growing up, Jacques Cousteau came to Phoenix, and I was in elementary school, and he gave a big present. Excuse me. Gave a big presentation.
Same thing going on,
right? At I think it was America West Arena at the time, and the Purple Palace where the Suns play, and I wanted to be a marine biologist for like the longest time. Loved the ocean, loved all of that stuff, and so I love aquariums and scuba diving and that kind of thing. But I do not agree with keeping dolphins and whales in captivity. Right. I think that they are super intelligent animals, and they need the ocean to swim in, and for us to keep them in captivity, I think future generations will look back on us for doing that pretty terribly. And so they had dolphins in the middle of the fucking desert, and that's not okay.
Right.
And so I never went because they had the dolphins, and several of them died, unfortunately, and they then, I hope, learned their lesson and removed the dolphins from the aquarium, which they're separate companies.
Yeah.
I don't know that people know that or not, but it's still, the aquarium's enabling that.
It's guilty by association.
Yeah. So that's why I had never been. I was very excited when I heard they were going in, but with the dolphins, I just refused to go. And so they removed the dolphins, having
right around
lost
the time
several.
of our event, actually,
yep.
I think.
And so with them not having dolphins anymore, now I feel okay with supporting that as long as they continue to not have dolphins or whales.
Right.
So kind of a downer, but I love the aquarium. It was super fun when we were there. They really took care of our clients. And our last event last year was at the Musical Instrument Museum, and that was amazing as well. And what I found, we've done other client appreciation events, but what I found is, when our clients come, they want to say hi, they want to grab a drink, and then they want to go do something. They don't want to sit around and do awkward small talk. It's like being the only one going to a wedding and not knowing anyone except for the bride and groom, and you end up having awkward small talk with people that you don't really know, and it's just weird. And so same thing for our client appreciation events. So going forward, what we've learned is it's great to have an event where people can come, you're in one place, grab a drink, have a little bit of food, say hi, and then go do something, and then they can come back and thank us and then leave. So it was wonderful. The aquarium treated us really, really well.
They did.
And we will probably do another event there at some point in the future. This next one, this is coming out in November. Our next client appreciation event, I think, is going to be in March-ish.
So,
sometime around there. And it's going to be at the Phoenix Zoo. Yeah. And I'm super excited about that. Again, I have, some issues with some of the things that zoos do.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited to go there, and I think that we'll have a super good turnout. And, we really love our clients. We're here because of them. I'm able to pay my bills and take care of my wife and pay you guys and do those things because of our clients and because of the referrals they send us. And so for us to get to see them and, grow that relationship and really say thank you for giving us the opportunity to help them, because it really is an opportunity. It's,
for sure.
And we view it as that. And I've always talked about with you and with our team is that, real estate is very transactional, but for us, it's mostly relationship building.
Right.
And, we not only want to be there for our clients during the transaction, but after as well.
Right.
And we want to be their go-to resource, now and into the future. And we want, when they hear their friend, their family, their mom's moving to Arizona, whatever, that they say, oh my gosh, you have to use our realtor. They are fantastic.
Right.
And so these things are just a way for us to reconnect, say thank you, and, we'll continue to do it.
Yeah. And it's been super awesome. So, but yeah, outside of the client appreciation event, I know, again, you got married a year ago, and I think you had mentioned it was kind of funny that you were taking a honeymoon a year later.
Yep.
And interesting story on that one too, right? You kind of fell into the honeymoon, but so how did you, or what was, I guess, your favorite thing that you ate while you were traveling abroad, and kind of tell us the backstory behind falling into the honeymoon?
So first off, we took our honeymoon a year later because Alyssa and I paid for our wedding. Our parents were wonderful and definitely did more than they needed to, but Alyssa and I are adults and paid for our wedding ourselves. And so when you do that, even if it's a destination, it's still expensive.
Right.
And so we needed to save, and I'm not the type that wants to go into debt to do any of these types of things. So we saved for a year, and we went to Japan and Bali, and the way we ended up going there was that I think 2 weeks after our wedding, we went to a wine festival outside of San Francisco in Tiburon with a ton of my friends, and they had a silent auction at this wine festival. And so my wife and I are notorious for bidding on things at silent auctions, especially when we've been drinking. And so,
everybody is, right?
Yeah, right.
I'll totally win this.
Yeah. These charity events, they know what they're doing. You serve people enough booze, they're going to bid on stuff that they probably normally wouldn't. And so we did what, weaselly people kind of do. And the auction was winding down, and we started walking around to see what, hadn't really been bid on. And we ended up standing in front of this trip for two to Bali. And, it had been bid up to whatever price it was at. And we were talking about it. We're like, do we, we've always wanted to go to Asia. Do we, don't we? Well, the auctioneer guy walks up and he's like, we're getting ready to shut down. Are you guys going to bid? And we're like hemming and hawing over it. And he's like, you know what? This got bid up pretty high. I've been authorized that if we got to a certain dollar amount on this to offer a second one. And we're like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah, what if I gave you a trip for two to Bali for this price? And he points like way towards the top of the page. And we looked at each other and smiled, and we're like, sold. So we ended up randomly buying this trip for two, this vacation package to Bali with zero research at all. And it turned out to be just absolutely incredible.
Right.
The trip for two was for a week in Bali, and we didn't want to go all that way and only have a week-long honeymoon, so we wanted to front load it. Bali's a very relaxing, kind of chill place.
Yeah.
And I'm very much a go type of a person. And so because we were going to be on that side of the world, I've always wanted to go to Japan. And so, we started looking at it, and so we booked the trip to Japan. We were there for a week, and we were in Bali for a week and a half. So we extended our stay in Bali. And both places are amazing. The food was absolutely incredible, totally different in each spot. I ate my weight in sushi and ramen when we were in Japan. And Bali's interesting in that it reminds me if China and India got together and had a kid, it would be Indonesia Bali, which, now you think Indonesia, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Indian, Asian. It was kind of an Indian Asian fusion is what it felt like. So if I could do it all over again, I do think that they are independent trips. It takes 11 hours to get from Japan to Bali. So it's still not like, it sounds like, oh, they're like close to it. They're not. And you got to get routed through Singapore. There's no direct flights to Bali. So it is a lot of, it's a lot of travel time. But it was incredible and just makes me want to go back to both. Both places were amazing. And the people were so nice in both places, especially in Bali, because it's definitely a third world country, but it's a democracy,
right?
And they love tourists because that is what their economy is based on, and they treat you just fantastic. They really appreciate you spending your money with them, whether it's a local grocery store. Shop, or they're like a tour guide showing you around. They really, really appreciate you. At least that's the way and it felt genuine. It didn't feel like
you can tell
fake.
the difference.
Yeah. And I never ever once felt unsafe. Alyssa never felt unsafe in the poorest of areas. I would have been fine if it was the middle of the night and she was walking around by herself.
Those are probably the nicest people.
Yeah. So if you haven't gone, I highly recommend both places.
It's definitely on mine and Danielle's list for sure. So,
and give it ample time. Don't try to cram both of them.
So like 2 weeks in Bali itself would probably be with all the travel time, getting out there, coming back. Yeah. And then we only saw Tokyo and Kyoto in Japan, and Tokyo reminded me a lot of New York, but with Japanese people. And it's very homogeneous over there, so it was like just Japanese people. Right.
And then Kyoto was still kind of a city, but not as crazy.
Right.
Really good food and bar scene there. Expensive. Japan is expensive.
That's what I've heard as well.
And I definitely recommend. We did a private tour guide that was a referral from a friend of ours that had done it, and I absolutely recommend that. There's costs associated with it, but getting around is impossible. When you're in Europe and other places that are based on the Latin alphabet, you can kind of struggle your way through. But when you're looking at a board and it's a bunch of squiggly lines and symbols, you're like, this is stop. Like I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know where. So this time saving of having somebody that knew how to navigate the city was worth it. Absolutely worth it.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah. So.
And I guess that could lead you on its own adventure too. If you're like, oh, I don't know what that says, we'll get off in 2 stops, see where it takes us. But maybe you don't want to do that.
No, I mean, the private guide, he listened to what we wanted to do. We're not into art; we're more into architecture and history and those types of things. So he tailored the trip to what we wanted. So it maximized our time, is what it really did. So we didn't have to struggle to figure things out in a country where not only do we not speak the language, but we don't understand the alphabet.
Right. So
and what was interesting is he told us that he doesn't know the entire alphabet.
Oh, wow.
Japan has 22, 26 symbols, but they also use the Chinese alphabet, which has over 30,000 symbols. So he'd be like reading something to us, and he's like, I don't know what that symbol is, and he's native to Japan. So if somebody who lives there doesn't recognize some of their own words or writing, just think about how hard it is for a foreigner. Yeah,
that makes a bunch of sense. Well, out of the two, Bali and Japan, which one would you say you preferred more?
I would move to Bali tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well,
don't move to Bali tomorrow. We got a lot of clients, and we love you.
Yeah. You guys are safe. We're not, but it was that amazing. The people were super chill. Your money, goes so much further there. So it's a beautiful island. I would definitely move there for sure.
Yeah. Sweet place. You've been a traveling man this year. So you had Japan, you had Bali. After that, you went to Seattle on the guys trip, which I can respect and appreciate a guys trip. And I think for me, just to kind of premise this, I think it's interesting. I think some people get a misconception about a guy's trip.
Yeah.
The one thing with our guy's trip, and maybe yours was created on this, you can tell me, but it was created on the premise that we had a core group of friends that we grew up with, that we used to see each other all the time, and then people moved around the country and that kind of stuff, and it kind of pulled us apart. And this was our way of constantly staying together at least once a year. So was yours kind of like that? And then, for you on this guy's trip, what was your favorite part about that?
Yeah. So I was the instigator, and a couple of my friends started calling it a baby moon, and it really pissed off the wives of my friends, because a baby moon is like the husband and wife going on a trip together, kind of their last trip before they have their kid. And, one of my best friends, Chad, who recently just had a baby girl, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
He and his wife were pregnant, and I know that when you have a child, that things get super busy and complicated, and it's harder to do stuff. It becomes
their world.
Yeah. So I was like, let's get everybody together. You're probably the first domino to fall, and it's going to happen to everybody in our circle, and let's try and get together before you end up having a kid. And so it stupidly, somebody called it a baby moon, and
it spiraled downward from
yeah. And so we learned, don't call it that, because you definitely will piss off the wives. But it was a very innocent trip, and it was just to go somewhere. It was hot in Arizona, and so we wanted to get out of Dodge. We've got friends in Southern California, so they didn't want to do anything in Southern California because that's where they live. Friends in Northern and so none of us had ever been to Seattle to see the city and walk around. So we picked that as a destination, and it was just kind of an opportunity for us to hang out for a weekend, just the guys, see a city. We did a lot of touristy stuff. When I go somewhere new, I don't want to just go to bars, because you can do that anywhere, and they all serve the same stuff.
You want to see what that city's about.
Yeah. So we did walking tours. We did a food tour of Pike's Place Market and learned about the history there. We did an underground tour. Seattle was a horribly built city, and it was basically built on sawdust. And so they've got this whole underground city that used to be there. It burned down a couple of times, and so to learn the history and kind of walk through and experience that was a lot of fun, and just to kind of bond with your buds before everybody starts a family. And Chad recently had his baby girl, and a couple of other of my friends, I don't know if but a lot of people are getting pregnant. So it's kind of happening.
Yeah.
And it's going to get harder and harder for us all to get together. And so this was kind of, I don't want to call it a last hurrah, because I think that we will always try to make
an effort to
get together. And I think that's important for people. I think it's important for wives to do that. I also think it's important for the husbands to do that, to get away from your family, your kids, your spouse, and have a weekend to yourself to just be you, and enjoy it. And when I have a family and my wife wants to go on a trip and not include me, and I got to take care of the kid, I'm happy to do that, because I think she would encourage me to do the same. And so hopefully it's not the last trip, it's one of many to come as we all grow and mature, and our lives change, and hopefully we can kind of do it together.
So it sounds like you did some pretty awesome things on there. You probably
we did.
Expressed only the G-rated stuff.
Yeah. It was only G-rated. There was nothing, there's maybe some PG-13 stuff, but that was about it.
Right. Bars, that kind of stuff. Yeah. But yeah, it's super awesome, and I can definitely, like I said, respect and appreciate that you do that with your friends. And I just remember when you came back, you had actually wrote a Facebook post about kind of some of the things that you had realized and understood about that with the friends that you went with. And I just thought it was kind of, for me, it was kind of heartwarming, I guess would be the word. But it was cool.
Yeah. So. And I'm super thankful to my friends' wives, who are also my friends, for the chance to do that, and letting guys be guys.
Yeah. We got to do that from time to time.
For sure. We're idiots, and sometimes we need to be idiots.
Yeah. Just around other guys. Yeah. Makes sense. So, the next thing that you kind of did on your list, that we kind of thought was very interesting. I thought was very interesting. I haven't done it yet, but hiking the Grand Canyon.
Oh, yeah.
I know you said give it 2 years and see if you want to do it again.
Right.
But for you, like on the Grand Canyon, I know it's probably pretty grueling. You've expressed to us that, the last half of it was pretty grueling. But
so I had hiked the Grand Canyon with Alyssa a few years ago, and that was hard in its own right. It was about 20 miles that we did, but it was over the course of 3 days. We had 60-pound packs on our back.
Day, right?
This was rim to rim. We started on the south rim and went to the north rim in just one day. So you still had a backpack, but it was much lighter. Yeah. And it was filled with food and water and just a few items, supplies. And they had been prepping to do this trip, and I hadn't signed up for it. And a week before the trip, I got convinced by a group at our CrossFit gym to do it. And it's a hike for charity. Yeah. One of the guys at our gym had a close friend who was a student at ASU who was killed. He got hit by a drunk driver while he was riding his bike, and one of the things he loved to do was hike the Grand Canyon. So to honor his memory, every 2 years they get a big group together, raise some money, and hike the Grand Canyon, and then really donate the money to charity. Yeah. And they make shirts, and everybody on the trails, asks them about the shirts, and they tell the story and whatnot. So it's a really cool way to honor this young man's memory. And so this was the biggest turnout that they've ever had. There was 51 people, I think,
Holy smokes.
did the hike.
Everybody on their own time frame, right?
Correct. Yeah. Yep. So there was no there was no permits pulled. We didn't do any camping. We got there the day before and stayed in a hotel on the South Rim. Got up, and everybody within our group started at 5 a.m. on Saturday morning to do the hike. So you had headlamps on. It's pitch black, and tons of shadows, and it's a very interesting thing to you forget how many stars there are in the sky. I know that sounds weird, but living in a big city, you see like half a dozen. Yeah, there are way more than that, and being at the Grand Canyon, you can really kind of see that because there's not a lot of light pollution. Yeah, so that was really neat. And the hike itself, we did 28 miles in 14 hours. And it was fine, I would say, for like the first 23 miles. The last 5 miles sucked. A lot of people, when they go rim to rim, they start on the north side and go south because it's easier. And the north side, for anybody that doesn't know, is basically 7 or 8 miles straight up. Tons of switchbacks. The path turns to sand, so you're like hiking up on a beach, and
which sounds terrible.
It is. and after doing 20 plus miles before that, your feet hurt. The hardest thing for me was, most people know that I eat relatively healthy, and so the hardest thing for me was to constantly be eating crap. It's all very high
fake
sugar,
nutrients,
high carbohydrates because you're burning so many calories, and you're having energy chews. I bought a thing of 60 salt tablets, and these things were like, imagine putting, 15 sweet tarts in your mouth at once. They're like they were like super tart, and then you're drinking, electrolyte enhanced water and just all this shit. Bad food, and it really messed up my stomach. And so what really made the end hard was I stopped. One of my buddies is an endurance athlete, so he does ultra marathons, Ironmans, those types of things. And he's like, Danny, you got to eat every 30 minutes, even if you don't want to. And by the last couple of hours, my stomach hated me, and I didn't want to eat anything. I was done. And I was with what I call the 930 soccer moms. They're all they're super fit, and they're all badasses. Don't get me wrong. They go to the 930 class at the CrossFit gym, and one of them, she's a mom, and she's like, Danny, you got to eat. You really got to eat. And I was like, but I don't want to. I'm like this irresponsible child, and I have a literal mom telling me, and I refused, and she's like, no. Fine. And she knew. no shit. Like 30 minutes later, I get cold sweats. I get super lightheaded and shaky, and I'm like, guys, I gotta stop. I need to sit down. I do not feel good. She walks over.
Thinking about it.
Same mom walks over, hands me a bag full of like Teddy Graham cookies, and I just went to town on those things, and then followed it up with an apple, and then somebody gave me dried mangoes, and I'm just like shoving this stuff in my face, and it kind of regulated my blood sugar a little bit, but it was by far the hardest thing I've ever done in my life in terms of physical
activity.
It was physically exhausting and emotionally exhausting. Some of the people when you come up over the ridge, you can feel that you're getting close because the weather changes. You start to feel breeze, the temperature drops, like it's definitely warmer in the canyon than it is outside the canyon because you're kind of exposed to the elements. And what was really disheartening is we started the day with headlamps in the dark, and unfortunately we finished the day with headlamps in the dark. And you hit a lot of false summits on that last 7 miles where you think you're rounding the corner and you're like, we're getting close, and you're just not close at all. You're still hours away. And you come up over the ridge, and the last kind of kick in the balls was this 4-foot step that I called the fuck you step. Like just one last like ha that
try this one.
So Amanda Snow and I we hiked. Everybody kind of splintered towards the end because some people were like, I just need to get out of this canyon, I can't take breaks, and they just powered through it. Well, my buddy's wife Amanda and I were together, and there were still some people behind us, but a lot of people in front of us. And there was a 2-hour period where we did not say a word to each other as we were like hiking through this.
Just going through your own mental process.
And my mental process is super juvenile in that I just tell
Teddy Grahams.
It's really dumb. I think of Finding Nemo and Dory, and she
pretty close.
Just keep swimming, and that's what I was like repeating in my head was like, just keep swimming, so stupid. But we get up to this fuck you step, and it's like 4 feet high, and she sits down on it and kind of like barrel rolls, and I like walk up, and I'm just like, oh my god. And I put my foot up on it and like bear down and stand up, and we're at the end. And some of the girls, some of the people broke down and were crying because we were at the end, and there was this whole spread of food that was out, and
So
my
you just
first
went
question
savage.
Well, my first question was, where's the beer? And they didn't have any.
Rude.
Yeah.
Just rude.
But they had chairs, and I was like, I'm going to sit down in a chair. I haven't sat down in a chair for 14 hours. I'm going to sit in a chair. And that's what I did. And what's really impressive is 3 of the guys did all of that, and they turned around and they went back. So they did 52 miles. One of the guys started with us at 5 a.m. on Saturday. He didn't finish until 6:30 a.m. on Sunday. No sleep, no camping, straight through. And so those guys, I'm really impressed with. You couldn't have paid me enough money to turn around and go back down and go through that. There was just no way. So I will probably do it again. Because looking back, it's a fun story, and it was really cool, and the camaraderie with the group that we did it with, it was a ton of fun. The last part was just extremely hard.
That sounds like it. And again, even as terrible as some of the parts of your story sound, I definitely still want to do it. I got a group of friends that definitely wants to go out there.
And excuse my language, but whatever.
No, that's what was going on out there.
Right.
Makes sense. Makes
sometimes curse words are fitting.
That step.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. So, well, kudos to that.
Thank you.
That's something that you had a percentage on that of, people that did it. And it's a very small percentage of people that have hiked the Grand Canyon.
Oh yeah, it's like less than 1% of people actually hike down into the bottom that visit the Grand Canyon, and even a smaller percentage than that actually hike rim to rim.
Right.
So it's a very small percentage of people that do that. Yeah.
So Danny Brown lives among that percentage. So cool. Well, another thing that happened after the Grand Canyon, we actually, you guys have met him before, Garrett with JFQ Lending. He's on this podcast from time to time. We actually pranked him.
Yes.
And just out of curiosity, I know I was there for it, but who ended up coming up with the prank, and how did Garrett take the prank?
So Morgan and Abigail love to prank people. They've pranked me a bunch of times. Yes. And I'm sure you guys have seen the videos of them pranking me, but they pranked Garrett. It was pretty hilarious. They got him a card. And when you open this card, it starts playing a really annoying song. They came up with this like whole thing that they wrote in there that they had donated to a squirrel charity to save the squirrels. And it was really funny. But you can't turn off the music. It just won't stop playing.
Right.
And it just keeps going and keeps going. And I think that the card company has figured human beings out, that you end up getting so frustrated that you tear the card open to try and pull the battery out,
yeah.
And they fill it with glitter. And so, Garrett tears the card open and just glitter goes everywhere, and gets all over, our office and him. And he took it in strides. He said he's going to get us back. He has not yet. And so we're all kind of on pins and needles on, one of these days I think we're going to walk into a flaming bag of poo or something like that on our doorstep.
Your office filled with balloons.
Yeah, right.
Like that.
Yeah. So that was super funny.
No, and I
enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, and I think that's really fun. Casa Academy, I know that's something that a lot of our clients know that we're big and really affiliated with. Danny, I know you're still on the board. Are there any big things happening at Casa?
Yeah, so Casa right now, they're constantly raising money, and we're very close to being a title sponsor for their event. So our goal was to donate $10,000 from us, from Myriad alone. So what we've been doing is anytime somebody gives us a referral, we donate 5% of the commission to the school. So we are on track to finish the year with reaching that goal. And the school's actually in the process of purchasing property to relocate the school where they've been renting space to have a permanent home, and that's been super exciting. So it's their mission. It's a charter school. A lot of people get confused with charter schools and they think it's a for profit, and there are some that are like that, but this one's a nonprofit. They do not keep any of the money. It goes all back to the kids and the students, and they really cater to young individuals. Right now, their goal is to do kindergarten through 8th grade, but right now they're kindergarten through second. Through second, and they're taking kids who English isn't their primary language. A lot of these kids are refugees. They're living below the poverty line. The food they eat is typically just the lunch that the school serves, and so they're really catering to kind of a forgotten class of people. And the public school systems in Phoenix just don't have the bandwidth to give these kids the attention that they need in order to just catch up to their peers. So this CASA really focuses on that, and is doing a really good job in the community to make better citizens and change the trajectory of these young kids' lives, really. So I know there's a lot of debate on charter schools taking away from public schools, but what they're doing is filling a particular niche that I think helps the public school system and helps the public school teachers, because they just don't have the time or the resources to give the one-on-one attention that these kids so desperately need. And so I think what they're doing, their mission is awesome, and to see them get to a point now where they want to grow to eventually help kids through
impact more.
And it takes
awesome.
It takes longer than 3 years to get someone caught up when they go into school and can't
2 or
read.
3 years behind.
I mean, they're very far behind. So it's not like, oh, we're in 2nd grade, they're fully caught up and can now go into the public school system. They're so far behind that it's going to take many years for them to get fully caught up. And so for them to grow their mission and to be able to get to a point where they can have their own campus, I think is super awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And we definitely support them. And hopefully we'll reach that title sponsor. It sounds like we're pretty close. I know you mentioned jokingly at the beginning of this year, I probably won't have a job if we don't meet the title sponsors. That is my job.
Yeah,
so, but yeah, definitely excited to, present them with a title sponsor check. That would be super awesome. I've gone to their event a couple of times, and I think that would be really great to do that for them.
Yeah.
So, outside of that, volunteering, for us, we do a lot of, I guess, volunteering that we can at CASA. We actually participate in their annual event. But for us as a team, what's been your favorite volunteer event, and where have you or us volunteered, and why did we actually take those steps, or why did you actually take those steps to volunteer there?
Well, all of us were passionate about Phoenix. We love to give back, and I think when you're in a position to give back, you should give back.
Yeah.
And I think the most fun that I had with us as a team was we did the Children's Museum, so that was a lot of fun, making things for kids and taking care of some of their equipment, and then making food supplies for, I think,
Feed My Starving Children.
Feed My Starving Children, and I think that was for kids and families in the Philippines. And so those were a lot of fun. It's always enjoyable to do something as a team together, and give back. So I think we've really enjoyed that, and we want to continue to do it.
Yeah. And this year we are also on track to have the most closings since we started as a team at Myriad. So I guess, how does it feel to do, over $25 million in sales, which that would be 81 closings, with all of our current clients that are, we're currently working with once they close.
Yeah, we still got a couple months left.
Yeah. We can still add more.
Yeah,
Let's
hopefully. Yeah, it's been amazing. You guys, this is a really testament to you guys and your hard work. I could not do this by myself. So, bringing on just all-stars like you and Abigail and Morgan, Madeline.
Don't blow my head up now, Tony.
Julia's new to our team, but I think she's going to be
awesome.
an amazing fit. So it's been really cool. I've really enjoyed it, and I hope that we can continue to grow and help more people, because that's really what it's all about.
Right.
We're trying, of course, to make money and do that, but really what it comes down to is helping people.
Yes.
And I think, obviously I'm biased, but I think we're the best real estate team in Arizona. Yeah. Hands down. I think we care more than anybody else does about their clients.
Right.
And I think that we work very hard to come up with creative solutions. We listen to what our clients want.
Right.
And we're honest too. We don't blow smoke to
it's
just
kind of
try
lost in this day and age, where it's more about the sale than it is about the person.
Yeah. I'm not going to go into a listing appointment and say someone can get, $300,000 for their home, when in reality they can probably only get, $275,000. I'm going to be honest with them, because I'm not doing them any good by lying.
Right.
And so, again, we're the smartest, best group collectively that I've ever seen. And I would put our team up against any team, regardless of the industry, because of our passion for the people that we help, and our desire. I talked about it before, that this is relationship building for us, that we become friends with our clients, and you don't become friends with people if you screw them over.
Right. And,
my quote is that, on a long enough timeline, if you do the right thing, you're going to win. And that's kind of a summary of a Zig Ziglar quote, where something along the lines of, if to get everything you want in life, you have to help enough people get what they want in life. And so our team has really been built around putting the needs of the client ahead of ours. Right. So if that means telling our client they should cancel, that's the best thing for you. Yeah. Or if we are looking at a home, rather than getting them under contract on something just to get them under contract, we'll tell them that it's a bad deal, or this house has major issues. I was talking with our plumber the other day, and we've saved, between us and him, we have saved our clients over $500,000 in plumbing repairs by just doing the right thing.
Right.
And I don't think there's any other teams out there that do what we do at the level that we do it and genuinely care and fight for every last dollar for our client, whether they're selling or buying. We want to get them, when they're buying, the best home we possibly can for the cheapest price. We've gotten clients where agents have refused to write offers for them because they thought the offers were too low, or wouldn't show them homes because they hadn't spoken to a lender yet. And that's just terrible.
Right.
That's awful.
Everybody's going through their own process.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's buying a home. It's not one way to do it. They have to go through their own understanding of the knowledge, seeing what they like out there and all of that. So
yeah, and there's a lot of new things coming to the market. Phoenix is a hotbed for all these different startups. So, we're competing with the likes of Open Door, OfferPad, Zillow, Knock, another company called Cribs. Just all kinds of things. And there is a place for those. And we want to be a source that people can come talk to. And if I think your best deal is to go with one of those, I'm going to tell you.
Right.
I owe you a fiduciary response. I'm going to tell you what I would tell my own mom.
Right.
Yes, this is an amazing deal. You should do that. Even if it's going to cost me I don't care. I want to do right by you, not right by me. And I think that is starting to show, and which is why we're having one of the best years we've ever had. And it's thanks to our clients bragging on us. It's thanks to you. Your position is staying in contact with our past clients and loving on them and letting them know we're here for them. Right. And so I think all of that is kind of working together, and it's really shown this year.
Yeah. And you've mentioned real estate is kind of transactional, and I feel like what we've done as a team and what I appreciate and see in all of our team is that, well, yes, there's a transaction that's going on. Like you said, we kind of make friends with them and build a relationship, and we take care of them as people. We don't take care of the transaction. We take care of the people that are going through the transaction.
Which very eloquently put.
Yeah,
yes.
I definitely appreciate that. Yeah. So, for our team and our clients, we've been talking a lot about that. Do you have a favorite team moment this past year?
A favorite team moment?
Yeah, favorite team moment.
That's a really hard question. I mean, I look forward to every day. I'm super lucky in that I really enjoy our team. And, a great example is you just recently were on vacation in Texas visiting your family. Your absence was felt. Like, the office wasn't the same without you there. And the same goes for everybody on the team. When somebody's gone, we feel it. We feel it in our culture, and the office isn't as exciting and vibrant when we're missing someone. So, as corny as it sounds, I think my favorite, it's every day that I get to work with you guys is a great day. And I'm not saying that to just sound corny. It's the truth. Like, I genuinely get excited to come to the office because of you guys and because of the passion that you have for the vision that I've kind of painted for us. And everybody's bought in, and it's incredibly fun. We have a really fun atmosphere, but we work hard at the same time. And so, that's my favorite thing is our team collectively as a group. It's just wonderful. Yeah,
I've worked in a lot of places, a lot of different industries, and this is one place I think I've mentioned to you that, I enjoy coming to work every day. I don't think I've ever woken up one single day and dreaded I got to go see Danny or I got to go see, Abigail. Or
That's good.
I actually love coming into work. It's kind of it's a refreshing feeling. Yeah. And it's sometimes rare to find that. So I'm happy that I landed here and plan on sticking around for a while.
Yeah.
So kudos to you and the team and everybody else. But
I don't know how many questions we have. I think we're kind of running long, so maybe we'll fast forward a little bit.
Yeah. We'll go through rapid fire. So do you have any memories of clients from this past year that stood out for you?
This year's been really exciting in that we've helped more clients sell their current home to move into their next home than I can remember. And for me, that's the most. I love those transactions. They are so much fun for me, probably not our clients. For our clients, it's super stressful. But my goal is to remove that stress from them.
Yeah.
And to come up, it's like a puzzle. When somebody comes to me and they say, we need to sell our current house in order to buy another house. So to be able to work through that process in a creative way to get our clients there is so much fun for me. To come up with creative solutions to get them there.
Right.
And that's what I find, it really invigorates me when I get to do that and work through these obstacles and just crush each one that pops up and be like, nope, we're past it, we're getting there. Yeah. And to solve these problems for people is my favorite part of real estate and what I enjoy most. And so our niche has always been kind of first-time home buyers, and that's still one of our niches. But what we've really excelled at this year is helping people sell in order to buy.
Right.
And that's been our team. We just kind of discovered that we are uniquely set up to specialize in that transaction to get people to that next stage, because of how we work together and because of how we specialize in different parts of the transaction. So that has been the most exciting, and that has been what has been most memorable of this year, is helping all those people get from house A to house B in as little stress as possible and a successful way while protecting them at the same time.
Right.
So a great example this year, just recently, we have a client under contract that came to us on I think they came to us on a Tuesday. And we're like, we want to live in this particular neighborhood. So I did a search. They gave me their criteria. There was one house available that was a little bit outside their criteria. I brought them to it, and they loved it. And to make a long story short, to protect them, I wrote into the sale of their current home that had just gone under contract that they had the right to cancel on the buyer, which sellers never get the right to cancel on the buyer at any time for any reason, to protect them in case something happened on the purchase. And so working through these things and coming up with creative solutions to protect our client, to make it in a stress-free way, is just so much.
Gets your wheels turning.
It really gets me fired up.
Right.
And they're friends, and they called me. It was like 9 o'clock, or I called them at 9 o'clock at night, and I'm sitting on the couch when we got both deals under contract at the same time. And I called, and it was like my moment. And I put my hands in the air in my living room, and I'm like, I am the greatest realtor in the world. Like, I don't. So, it gets me fired up. Those
right.
deals, yeah. So. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely respect and appreciate your guidance. Obviously you have a lot of knowledge to be able to pull things like that off. But for you've obviously had mentors in your life. So
yes.
Who is at this time mentoring you right now, and what are they kind of mentoring you on?
One of the biggest influences in my life and greatest mentors is Lizzie Hofer, Lizzie Irvine. She's married to Skylar, and she and I have been really close friends since college. We were roommates. And she's one of our preferred lenders, and she is a rock star. She runs a tight ship, a fantastic business. She is the, I think, number one lender in Arizona, female lender in Arizona, and the number one female lender in the country, I think. She's just wildly successful and knows how to run a great business. And she, working with her as a mentor and a coach, has really, she's pulled me along kicking and screaming and made me a better leader, and really helped create our team. So I owe her a lot of credit for where we are today, and she's helped me work through a lot of different obstacles, and so I owe her quite a bit. She's probably the most impactful mentor and coach that I have. Another is Rachel Lutowski.
Yep.
We bring her in, and she does team coaching.
Yeah.
She's wonderful, and she really helps us as a team culturally come together to communicate and to help us set team goals. Lizzie's my coach on an individual scale, and Rachel's our team coach. And so she's been just amazing and has really helped define our culture and who we are as a group, and helps keep us focused. Yeah. So she's been fantastic. And, fitness is huge in my life. So I've also got some fitness coaches that I work with. So I've Presley Hirsch of Hey Presley Nutrition. She's got an amazing podcast too that I'm going to be on in November. And she's helped me, dial in my diet. And so, by the time this podcast comes out, I'm going to be 38 and I'm in the best shape of my life.
That's awesome.
I'm in better shape at 38 than I was in my mid-20s. And a lot of that has to do with her helping me get my food and supplementation dialed in.
Right.
What I've learned is that every human being is different. And so what works for one person may not work for another. And so she's really worked with me and, through trial and error, gotten me to a point where I've wanted to be. And then, there's been coaches at the gym. Brian Kunitzer, who owns CrossFit Magna, is a wonderful coach, and his team, Evan Hardman, Don Stanfill, Presley is a coach there as well. They have really helped my fitness and my skills get to the next level. Moses Cardova is another one. So those guys all collectively, I really believe in coaching, that we can't do stuff by ourselves, but you have to implement what the people tell you to do.
Right.
If you're not willing to implement it or do the work, then you get nothing out of it.
Yeah. No, that's super awesome.
So,
well, speaking of fitness, do you have any fitness goals for 2020? Last question.
Yeah. I'm definitely fit, and I feel like I'm in relatively good shape, but I suck at gymnastic stuff. I got no hips. CrossFit, you got a lot of hip movement in it, and I don't. I just kind of muscle through it. And so my goal for 2020 is to learn some of the basics and try and get some better at some of the gymnastic stuff. I've never spent any time on it because I suck at it. And so 2020, I think I'm going to focus on that some.
Right on.
Yeah. So
okay.
Should wrap this up. I think we're running long.
And
I don't think people really want to know that much about me.
Well, I guess last question then for you, Danny. Thanksgiving food. I understand you may not like it. Why do you hate Thanksgiving food so much?
I think Thanksgiving food is super, super overrated. I think turkey is just not great in general. Yeah. And it's not that we're bad at cooking turkey. It's just, it's not my favorite. I don't know. I don't like turkey that much. I hate stuffing. I think casseroles are gross. And if you were on if you were on death row, or it was your last meal on earth, how many of you would choose Thanksgiving as a meal? Probably hardly none. So why do we eat? It's just, I don't know. I don't look forward to it. I don't like it. And, this year, my brother's going on his honeymoon, and we'll be gone for Thanksgiving. We don't have any kids yet, so it's just going to be me and Alyssa and my parents. So we're going to Steak 44. I'd rather have a good steak and some of their, goods. I like mashed potatoes, of course, but none of this casserole nonsense. God, growing up, we had that green bean casserole with the shitty onion things on top with the cheese, right? And I guess it's a Midwest thing. Abigail was telling me it's this potato casserole that has ground up cornflakes on top. Mm-hmm. Ugh, it's just terrible. No. And, Skylar mentioned this a couple years ago, that he thought it would be a good idea that if people just brought their favorite food, if you get together, it's about being family and that kind of thing, but bring your favorite food. So somebody might bring burgers, another person might bring donuts, and talk like kind of a potluck style of your favorite foods. That sounds way better. I love food. I just hate Thanksgiving food. And Christmas food sucks too. Nobody wants to eat ham. I think Honey Baked Ham here, and I don't know if they're a national company, but I think they make all their money for Christmas.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe Easter, but nobody likes ham. I like bacon. I'll eat a plate of bacon, but I don't want
I love
ham. No, it's not good. Not good at all. So,
Well, it's understanding you're passionate about that. You can always change traditions, though, Taney.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. Well, I know that we ran a bit long, and I'm long-winded, so sorry. But hopefully you got a little bit of insight into what our year has been like. We appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to our podcast. Give it a thumbs up on any of the different platforms. What else? We've got an Amazon Alexa briefing that we do every single week that touches on different things throughout the week, stuff that's going on in the Valley. And, we put out a lot of good information. So subscribe to that. Check out our e-newsletter. We're always trying to provide a lot of good information out there. And so thank you so much for tuning in. And I hope that you have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.